Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
We have a question here.
Hi Harsh, my name is Mohak and I will be joining IIM Code next month. My question to you is, you've just spoken about communication and how important it is, and there were speakers who've talked about a number of different soft skills that are extremely crucial. But when it comes to investment banking or finance on the broader sense, what are the hard skills that you think someone should develop? Because in terms of tools, we've heard, Excel is God, you work on Excel and things should be fine for you. But what are the hard skills that go into it?
Firstly, diligence.
Okay.
See, it is one thing to make a profile of TCS at 2 p.m. It's another to make it at 2 a.m. So I agree, next morning when your senior or your boss, whoever looks at the profile and finds that TCS ke jagah TPS likha diya gaya hai, and he'll be okay with it because he understands you've done it at 2 o'clock. But if he, instead of that, if you can to have that stamina to deliver what you do at 2 p.m., deliver it at 2 a.m., that is very, very important. The people keep telling us all the time, check your work, read it once, read it again. The saying on the shop floor is never hand out a piece of paper when it's hot from the printer. The idea being, use the time for it to cool down, to read through it again after you print it, because reading it on a screen and reading it on paper is very different. That is the most important part. Second, obviously, your fundamentals. Corporate finance, whatever your requirements. For investment banking, your corporate finance fundamentals, advanced corporate finance, do all of it. Cost of capital क्या होना चाहिए, कैसे calculate होना चाहिए, beta क्या होना चाहिए, कौन सा beta use होना है, all of that, you need to know that, the fundamentals of it. Those are the two things that are frankly required to start with, and then, as I said, the sales part then starts kicking in, managing your team starts kicking in, all of that will come.
My name is Manu and I'll be joining SP Gen. So my question is that, is it possible to get an investment banking job without doing a CFA or any other equivalent course?
Frankly, I don't know today's day and age, and I will tell you from why I'm saying that. Back in 2006, I would have said the answer is no, or you'll probably get at a fag end of the hirers. Today's day and age, I know chartered accountants, for example, who've joined a JM Financial, a CLSA, an Ambit, who rankers have joined Merrill Lynch. So this is the CA. So I'm guessing someone who's done very well at CFA might even be hired, because one of the reasons why the supply side on investment banking has collapsed is they're looking at costs. So if a fresh IIM grad, the total all-in cost at the end of the year is say $100,000, they've realized that they can hire a CA for probably less than half of that. And I'm assuming a ditto applies to a CFA as well. So what I had experienced was 2006. Today is a different day and age. It works for CAs, those who cleared first shot, those who got ranks. I am not too conversant on CFA yet. But a CFA plus MBA, if what you're asking, I'm sure the chances are high.
So yeah, myself Pushkar, I am joining IIM Indore right now. So part of my first question was that only, what I am the engineer fresher right now who is joining IIM Indore, and I am interested in finance. So what courses or skills would I need to plunge into the finance sector? And second is, you are currently working in digital health sector, which is quite a sensitive area, we can say. We have seen the cases of Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes over there. So how do you handle that scenes?
See, so let me take the second question first. We are increasingly moving to a world where data is moving to cloud. There are advantages to being on cloud. Without cloud, you can't have Uber. That's a fact, right? So is there a risk? Of course there is a risk. If data moves to cloud, it becomes a lot more accessible for anybody to hack into that system. When we talk to our clients, this is a question that comes all the time. मेरे data का क्या होगा? कोई आके hack कर गया तो? My answer to you is, anything is hackable. That is a risk. You want to be able to access that ECG in the middle of the night to avoid the hospitalization. You got to take a risk that it could be hacked. Now, what interest does anybody have in hacking that ECG? As again, is a different story. But yeah, it's a risk that remains. I cannot wish that away. You take steps. Every few months, Amazon, our servers are with AWS. So every few months, Amazon keeps coming out with newer and newer security updates, which hopefully will handle those kind of threats. What kind of courses you should take? Finance, corporate finance, advanced corporate finance, for sure. An aspect that is often where, because I was a chartered accountant, I had that advantage against my co-workers who were engineers. What helped me greatly was the ability to read balance sheets. क्योंकि as an analyst, you are evaluated on the fact कि अगर तुम्हें प्रोफाइल बनानी है एंड प्रोफाइल इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट इन अ प्रोफाइल टू कवर दीज थिंग्स, आई न्यू एग्जैक्टली कि ये डेटा कौन सेगमेंट एनालिसिस में मिलता है कि नहीं मिलता है. इज डेप्रिसिएशन अ लाइन आइटम इन द सेगमेंट एनालिसिस एनी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट वर्थ इज मनी शुड बी एबल टू ऑफर. अगर क्वांटिटेटिव प्रोडक्शन डेटा चाहिए तो कहाँ पे मिलेगा, कौन से शेड्यूल में होगा कि नहीं होगा. दैट काइंड ऑफ स्टफ I was able to navigate a 200-page annual report significantly faster than an engineer, which improved my efficiency relatively in front of my boss. So as an engineer, that is a skill, something that you can think of. You will have an accounting course in your first term, but that is very, obviously, 3 महीने में, I mean, you can't compare to someone जो 5 साल accounting सीख रहा है, you can't compare to in 3 months. But that is something by reading annual reports, by knowing because the layout of an annual report is governed by the Companies Act. It has to be followed to the T. वो पढ़ लो, nobody tells you that, but stuff like that.
Hi all, this is Shobit. I'll be joining XLR IBM. My question with you is, you mentioned the importance of networking, and we have been hearing this term a lot, but since like we'll be joining B School, we haven't experienced what it is like. So
You've experienced it today, no? I hope you've been networking.
Yeah, networking. So, but I wanted to know from some of your personal experience, if you can tell any one instance where your network, like your B School network, helped you in your career.
There are 2 things about networking. Firstly is how do you ensure that you are noticed? Because when I mentioned the importance of networking, obviously one part is right now after 10-12 years for me to pick up the phone, to be able the ability to talk to a client or an ex-colleague and say कि यार I need your help, मुझे ये करा के दो. Right? At the end of the day, a very, very large part of the world runs on favors behind the scenes. That's a fact. So for you to be able to pull those favors out, you should have networked with that person somewhere in the past. More importantly, he should have been impressed by you. He should have found कि यार ये बंदा काम का है, let me do them this favor, कल जाके मुझे काम लगेगा. How do you give someone that impression? So, but this is something that is used to you much, much later when you're out looking for business yourself. Initially, the networking is about, so if I have to tell you, there will be a lot of office parties, no matter where you go, whichever organization, finance, non-finance, marketing, anything. And your bosses will be there because they're supposed to be there. And there will be lots of people who will be out there trying to be in front of the boss. How do you get the boss to notice you? Those kind of skills. How you carry yourself. It's probably something that you can pick up at a finishing school, but maybe it is important. The way you carry your wine glass, what are you drinking? Doesn't necessarily have to be what the boss is drinking. Do you know what you are drinking? How many of you know your wines if you're into wine drinking? Or is it just black, or white or red and that's the end of it? Stuff like single malts. I mean, these are things that could matter, could not matter. But what is goat cheese? What is feta? Stuff. So a lot of the finishing matters. And what I mean is how a lot of those things start mattering. Because guess what? It matters to the boss. He may have not known it when he was just a first-year analyst, but now he does. So if he meets a guy where he can discuss those things, if you can discuss, it matters. So what I meant by the networking early on is in those office parties, how do you stand out from the crowd? How are you able to have a conversation outside of work, not discuss, you're not supposed to discuss deals in public. So what do you talk if your Asia head is visiting and you're all out in a gathering? You should be able to talk to the guy. Firstly, ek to fati rahegi because he's your Asia head, you might as well not go for. So that communication part where, how do you get over that? He's just another guy who's out there to have fun, he's had a long day. It's stuff like that. We had, of course this happened much, much, much later, but we were in the car once moving from office to the venue of an office party because my Asia head was in town. And this guy turns out, we were just generally talking, what have you been doing, he was going to spend a weekend in Bombay and what he's going to do. And he ended up saying, oh, I love Deepika Padukone, I'm going to watch her movie. This was a Japanese guy. But imagine, right? So we tend to make up a lot, arey, koi bada gora aaya hai, whatever, ye, wo, I can't goof up, what will he think of me? But he just wants to have a good time talking to you. So what will you talk with him about? Preparing yourself for that is very important. Because if you get noticed there, life is made, boss.
My name is Shambhavi and I'll be joining IIM Ahmedabad. I have two questions for you. The first is that you shifted your career from IB to a health tech startup. So it might happen that you have some lack of knowledge about the sector in which you are moving. So how to overcome that? And the second is, what are the major scalability challenges that you faced while scaling or spreading around DRiefcase?
So in terms of skill sets, it was a bit of a rock and roll that we had. We were supposed to start with 3 co-founders, one of them being tech, and he left very early on. And then we hired people to get our tech done. But you learn. You think if you are someone who's managed to do well at CAT and got into the kind of institution that you guys are at, you will learn, right? You're an engineer who's planning now to finance. How is it vastly different? There may be a commerce graduate who's looking at a marketing career. So 2 साल में सीख लोगे ना, मुझे भी 3 ही हुए अभी in health tech when it comes to that. So you learn, you pick it up. Especially if you have a gun to your head, your money on the line, you will learn. It's not rocket science. There are some things that you may not learn. I am not very good at coding. I can't code for the love of God. But what I can do is I can tell an engineer exactly what I want. How the app should look. ये बटन दबाया तो क्या होना चाहिए और कैसे दिखना चाहिए. हाँ, scalability, your second question. Pay attention when your HR teachers talk. Trust me, my biggest challenge in scalability I know is hiring. To be able to figure out in a half an hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, jitna bhi whether this guy is good for a job or not is just so important. Because I was in charge of campus recruitments at Merrill for a good number of years, and to be able to do it is different at that time because ठीक है ना, 10 analyst है, एक hire किया, खराब निकला तो ठीक है, it's okay. But when you're hiring your first sales rep, वो खराब निकला तो कुछ नहीं बिकेगा. So, or say today we're in Bombay, but our next probably will start with Pune or Bangalore or Ahmedabad when we expand out. To set up a team in Ahmedabad, if the first guy I hire is an idiot, that entire office is going to fail. So that part, getting your soft skills right in hiring, is probably often what makes or breaks startups. Just the inability to hire right, kind of, because you don't have second chances. You're not going to give him 1 year to try and set up a business in Ahmedabad, and if he doesn't fail, now go and hire another one. You just shut the office in Ahmedabad after 1 year of failure.
Can we have a big round of applause for Harsh, please?
Thank you.
Hi guys, we hope you like this video.
And if you did, hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon.
हाँ बस हो गया, अभी काम भी कर लो.
हाँ ठीक है चलो.